bonita.
Yeah.
I feel excited. I feel like a Gen Z body. Giving 100 over 100.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is the first time you're seeing my video, you're highly welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always sticking around. So today we are going to be creating this glassy full glam look. If this looks like what you want to see or what you're excited to watch, let's get down to the video. To begin, I'm using this micellar water from Nia Beauty to cleanse our face. You need to work on a clean canvas, so this step is very important. Next, I'm going in with this Now Musim serum from Blossom Makeup. I'm applying it all over the face, and I'm going to be massaging it thoroughly to infuse some hydration to the skin. I'll be drying it off afterwards. Next, I'm going in with this Moist Essence moisturizer from Blossom Makeup. I'm going to be applying it generously on the face because the look I'm going for, I don't want a matte finish, I don't want a dewy finish either. I want something balanced. I'll be drying it with a fan afterwards. Next, I'm going in with this grip primer from Blossom Makeup. This primer is not mattifying, it helps in gripping your foundation. I'm applying it all over the face except under the eyes, and I'll be drying it with a fan afterwards. For foundation, I'm using this Zero Flaws foundation from Blossom Makeup. I mixed the two shades I showed earlier to get her shade. I'm going to be using my kabuki brush to spread it all over the face, and I'm going to be using my beauty blender to blend it even further. Now look at that glassy finish. This is what I was going for, something not like mattifying or too dewy. Next, I'm going in with my blush from my Sun Moon powder palette. I'm going to be using a brush to spread it out, and then I'll be using my beauty blender to smoothen it out even further. I love how this blush applies on the skin. Next, we'll be doing our under eye highlight, and I'll be using two concealers to do this process. I'll be going in first with my Avo Cosmetics concealer in the shade number 10, and I'll be applying it on the outer corners of the eyes, and then I'll be going in with my Illegal concealer in the shade Pure Beige. Avo Cosmetics concealer has a creamy consistency. Illegal concealer has a creamy consistency as well, but Avo Cosmetics concealer is creamier in texture. So I'll be applying the Illegal concealer inside the inner corners of the eyes, and I'll be applying the Avo Cosmetics concealer on the outer part of the eye to help me blend it out beautifully. Like I mentioned earlier, this look I want it to be not too matte and not too dewy as well, so which is why I'm working with some product that has creamy texture. I'll be taking a mixture of the two concealers, which is the Avo and the Illegal. I'll be mixing the both of them together, and I applied it on the forehead and down to the bridge of her nose, and I'll be using my beauty sponge from Art Cosmetics to blend everything seamlessly. I will be contouring her nose with foundation that is a shade darker than her complexion. The foundation I'm using for this nose contour is from Younger Beauty in the shade number 10. I'll be using this very tiny angled brush from Vicabel Cosmetics. This brush helps me to contour the nose beautifully, so I'll be creating an illusion. Once I apply the contour shade, I'll use the brush to blend it out, and also going with my beauty blender to make sure that everything is nice and blended. We want to create a contour shade on the nose, but you don't want a two parallel lines on the nose, so you make sure that everything is nice and blended. To set the under eyes, I'll be going in with powder from Dabel Cosmetics in the shade Olive. But before I set the under eye, I go back in with my beauty blender to blend out all the creasing that have occurred during the process of blending the whole face. Now I'll be using a tapping motion to spread out the powder under the eyes to make sure that everything is nice and blended the way I want it. And this particular shade, I'm just spreading it just under the eyes, and I'm using tap motion. I don't drag. I like to make sure that everything is properly blended. Now I'm using the same powder on her forehead, and I'm using it to set her nose. And now I'm going in with powders from Dabur Cosmetics in the shade African Queen and Angelic. I'll be using it to set the rest of her face, and I'm using a powder brush from Nuban Beauty for this process. I'm applying the powder all over the face. Like this is her exact shade of powder. I'm using it to set the rest of the face, the perimeter of the forehead and around the face, and I'm using the same tapping motion. I don't like drag powders. For bronzer, I'll be using this bronzing powder from Blood Beauty Cosmetics, and I'll be using it to warm up her face. I love how this bronzing powder applies on the skin. It's a shade of bronzer that works on every skin tone: light skin, dark skin, caramel, chocolate, any skin tone at all. You just have to, get control over the application depending on the skin type you're working on. This particular bronzer, I love it. I'll use the same bronzer to set my nose contour, to give that nose contour a very, very, very snatched look. I'll be using it, like picking it little by little. When it comes to product application, I don't like pack products all at once. I build it up, so I take little and I blend it. If I like what I'm getting, I will stop there. If I don't, I will keep on building till I get my desired look. So the next thing I'll be doing is I'll be picking up this setting powder from Blossom Makeup and Blood Beauty. The Blossom Makeup is in the shade Banana and the Blood Beauty is in the shade Invislucent. I mix the both of them together, and now I'll be using it to bake the face. I'm baking under the eyes, the forehead, the chin, and under the jawline. To this process I'm doing right now helps me to like give a very sharp definition to the jawline. So this step is I recently started doing this, not like I don't know about it, but I recently started doing it, incorporating it in my makeup routine, and I love it since I started. I'll be starting with the eyes. I have a detailed tutorial on these eyebrows on my page, and on this eyeshadow I'm doing as well. So it's the last three posts I did. Go check it out and leave a comment when you do. So I started with my eyeshadow base. I spread it out, and now I'm going in with that same bronzing powder I use in bronzing the skin. I'll be using it to map out my crease line, because the look I'm going for a cut crease eyeshadow look. I'll be using the bronzing powder to map out the crease, and I'm also using this blending brush from Nuban Beauty to do this process. I'm using a circular motion to blend it out as I do this. I'll be repeating the same process on the other side of the eyes, making sure that everything is blended. I don't want like a harsh line there. I'm using a circular motion to blend it as I apply, to make sure that everything is nice and beautiful. So I'll be mapping her crease very beautifully to make sure that I'm getting a desired shape of the cut crease I want to achieve. Because one thing about cut crease, you want everything to be nice and well structured, so you have to work with her features as well. Now I'm using this tiny eyeliner brush to further reinforce the crease color. I'm going in with a very dark brown eyeshadow shade from Zika Cosmetics. So I'm going in with this very tiny eyeliner brush to reinforce the crease color and make it very precise and structured. I'll be repeating the same process on the other side of the eyes to achieve this step. If you're someone that do cut crease eyeshadow a lot, you might consider getting these tiny different eyeliner brushes to help you in structuring, because some blending brushes might not really get into the crease or create sharp lines for you beautifully. Next, I'm using this golden eyeshadow color from Polar Beauty to, I'm applying it all over the lid. I did not use concealer to cut my crease or anything. I'm just using that eyeshadow, this golden eyeshadow from Polar Beauty to guide it under the crease line I've already created, because I already mapped out a very beautiful crease line. So I'm just using this eyeshadow to like glide it under it to create that very sharp um cut crease effect. You don't necessarily need to use your concealer to cut your crease. Once you have a steady hand and you structured enough, you're good to go. Just use the your eyelid color and carve it out the way you want it without using a concealer. This technique have I use it a lot. It helps me save time, and it helps me be faster when I'm creating cut crease. Makeup artistry is not something you do a particular kind of way. The main purpose is that you're achieving a good result with whatever technique or whatever route you want to take in order to achieve that. Next thing I'm going to be doing is taking this very soft brown eyeshadow. I'll be using it to smudge out her lower lash line to create that smoked out effect, a very light smoked out effect under the eyes. Once I apply my gel liner or waterline eyeliner, I'll be using a tiny blending brush to apply this. The next thing I'll be doing is using this very flat synthetic brush to apply that color we applied on the eyelid. I'll be using it to apply on the inner corners of the lower lash line to marry it with the brown shade that we applied earlier to give the under eyes a pop as well, because you need to show love to the lower lash line. I'll be lining her eyes with a gel liner from Younger Beauty. This eyeliner is very, very dark. It's one of my favorite eyeliner. I'll be using a tiny angled brush, an eyeliner brush for this process. I'll be lining the other side of the eyes as well, taking my time to make sure that I am not hurting her or making sure that the brush is not entering her eyes or anything. Now I'm going to be winging out her eyes and applying the liner on top of her lash line. I'll be making sure that my angle brush is very flat, and I'm making sure that I guide it very beautifully to create a very sharp wing, because I wanted a dramatic eyeliner for this look, which is why I am having a very elongated wing. So I'll make sure that my wing is very sharp. One thing about makeup is you need to have a steady hands. Anything is possible and achievable in makeup. Just have a steady hands, and whenever I'm doing anything that involves lines, I hold my breath sometimes. I don't even know when I do it, but I do. So now I'm going to be creating a double wing liner under her eyes. It wasn't planned, it was a last minute decision, and I'm happy I did it because it came out beautifully. So I'm going to be structuring it very beautifully, making sure that everything is nice, and I'm creating the double wing on the inner corner of the eye as well. I love how this whole look came out. Literally everything about this look gave me so much joy. So I'm making sure that my double wing is really winging out beautifully. I repeated the same process on the other side of the eyes. I'm taking a glitter glue and I'm placing it on her crease area, and I'll be tapping in some glitters on that area to give it a little bit of sparkle and shine. And the next thing I'm going to be doing is using my flat angle brush to tap in some white eyeliner on top of my black eyeliner. I'm going to be using a tapping motion to place it beautifully to make sure I get a very straight and precise line. I'm going to be using mascara on the lower lash line and on the upper lashes to give the lashes a lift. The next thing we are going to be doing now is the lips, and the shade I'm using right now is a sweet brown shade from Avor Cosmetics. A very detailed tutorial on this lip application is also up on my YouTube channel. It's the last video you will see before this one, so do well to check it out and also leave a comment when you do. So I'll be using the brown lip shade, spreading out the brown shade on the lips, but not literally to cover the entire lips. Next, I'll be going in with this light orange shade from Bicham Ageless Cosmetics in the shade orange. I'm applying it in the middle of the lips, and once I'm done applying it, I'll blend it out to marry the brown shade I applied earlier. I'm going to be using a tiny blending brush for this process, and after that I'll be going in with this milky shade from Bicham Ageless Cosmetics. I'm applying it in the middle of the lips, and I'll be blending out seamlessly because what I wanted to achieve for this lip is a three-toned ombre lip look. So I'm going to be applying it in the middle like I said, and I'm going to be blending it out beautifully because your lips needs all the blending it can get as well, just like you do for your eyeshadow. The next color is this dark brown shade from Bicham Ageless Cosmetics in the shade Cocoa. I'll be using it to structure my outline a bit further to give it that contour, like to make it pop and stand out. Literally, it's just in the tips of the lips. I'm not like dragging it inwardly. I'm just using this shade to structure the lips, nothing too serious. Next, I'm using this setting spray from Kiss Beauty to cancel out all the powderiness going on the face, and I'm going to be drying it off with a fan. Next, I'll be using this glow from Nuban Beauty, and I'll be applying it on the high points of her face, her cheeks. The brush I'm using for this application is from NK Beauty, and spreading out the highlighter on her forehead, her nose, and I'm making sure that, like, when it comes to glow application, I don't like pack it, I build it up to achieve my desired result. That's how you get a glassy finish. And now I'm using a gloss on the lip. It's a high shine gloss from Blossom Makeup. I'm applying it all over the lips to give the lips a succulent and yummy finish. And yeah, that's basically it for this look, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as I do. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment down below, and also give this video a big thumbs up. Also share this video with your friends because sharing is caring. Until my next video, bye guys.